Hey everybody, this is Chloe, and welcome to another episode of Swear We Aren't Lying. Now, before we assume it's another Chloe takeover, thank God it isn't. Yes, Zoe will be involved, but she will be taking over one half of the episode while I take over the other. And for today's topic, or this week's topic, I should say, we are actually going to be talking about body image and dysmorphia. Since Zoe and I have both experienced that growing up, very different from each other, but I'm sure that a lot of you will relate to one of us. So we hope that you take away something from this episode, and let's dive in. Now, I'm not entirely sure how we're splitting up this episode, and Zoe's probably not entirely sure either. But whatever sounds better as the beginning or ending, welcome to my half of this episode. And before I continue any further, I would like to apologize for my voice being hoarse or raspy, because it is. I just got back from Disneyland where I did a lot of yelling for my sister's birthday. And that was my first time being back there since I was 11 years old. So if you can't tell, I had a blast. I even actually had a asthma attack in Star Wars Land. So yeah. Anyway, so I grew up thinking I was a man. Not JK. I'm not going to start out my half of the episode like that. That's weird. But yes, I am going to talk about how I dealt with feeling like I was born the wrong gender for majority of my growing up. And then on top of that, I also wrestled a lot with my own sexuality and liking girls. So, that is going to be my half of the episode. But anyway, I can't really pinpoint when that all began. I just remember feeling like really different when I was little, and like I wasn't supposed to be a girl. And I guess the inner dialogue in my head was always this boy, like this man actually. I just assumed like this is what I was supposed to be. And I grew up, of course, liking guy things. And uh, it wasn't even really that, though, that made me question, am I supposed to be a girl? It was mostly the fact that whenever I played any type of game with my little brother, I wanted to be the guy. I wanted to be the hero. And so I would I would always tell my brother, like, no, you have to be the girl and I'm gonna save you or whatever. Um or I'm gonna be like the buff guy, because that's just how I wanted to view myself, and that's just who I wanted to be and what I wanted to grow up to become. But I knew, like, that's not what I actually was. That's just the persona I desperately wanted to be. Actually, those core memories you have that just like stick with you from an early age? I actually have this one where I was in the drive-through of McDonald's with my dad and my little brother, and he asked me what type of toy I wanted. And I began having a meltdown because I couldn't choose between the girl toy or the boy toy. And for me, that was like my first identity crisis, I guess. Um, because I was like, I think I'm supposed to get the girl toy, but I actually want the boy toy. So it was stuff like that. And then when we ended up moving to a neighborhood that had other kids and I started playing with them, I wanted to do everything outdoors and I wanted the rough house. And of course, whenever we played any type of games, I wanted to be the man. I always wanted to be a dude. And so that was just the type of person I would become in these games. And so, of course, like my thoughts began shifting and I began to think, so maybe I was supposed to be born a boy. And I don't think as a kid you really know what the term transgender is, and you don't just go, "Oh, I'm transgender." You know? That's something that's taught to you. But of course, those innocent thoughts where you're struggling to understand yourself and identify yourself, you're going to naturally think, well, I'm drawn to this more than these things that are supposed to come natural to me, I guess. So I must be this instead, you know? So I began thinking, yeah, maybe I am supposed to be a boy. And puberty hit me hard. It was like miserable for me because for me, I grew big boobs. I have big boobs. And so that was super hard for me to accept. Like, there was nothing I could do about it. They were just there one day. So there was really no more dressing like a dude for me that easily, without me looking like an umbrella, a walking umbrella. And then there were other feminine features that just came about me, and I hated them. I hated them for the longest time. And so, of course, I concluded, like, yeah, I think I'm supposed to be a boy. Until I was around 10, 11 years old, and I stumbled upon lesbian pornography for the first time. Lesbian pornography was something I began to watch religiously, and it became a habit of mine for the next 4 to 5 years of my teenage life. So instead of the question, am I supposed to be a boy? It then led to the question, am I a lesbian, you know? Or am I bi at least? But the reason I started to question more so, like, am I a lesbian, is because, sure, I had like fictional crushes on guys, and I found like cartoon guys like so cute or whatever, but I think that was more so just because I wanted to be a guy so bad. So they had like these features that I wanted and these attributes, these characteristics about them that I so desired to have myself. Um, it was more so that than like just, being like physically, romantically attracted to them. Because every time I thought about like straight sex or I tried to watch like straight porn, it was horrific to me. I was absolutely disgusted. But obviously, there was a reason why I was so attracted or even addicted to lesbian pornography, because that's just what I was attracted to. And so, of course, I thought like maybe I'm supposed to be a dyke or the dom type, you know? So that's what I started to not really identify as, because I I was like what, in middle school now? But I still definitely tried to dress like a guy and get away with that. And of course, my family questioned too. And they would even ask me, Chloe, are you attracted to girls? Do you like girls? Are you trying to be a guy? Is there a reason why you dress like this? And I always like denied it. I always tried to like push it back. And even my friends would ask too. And I always pushed it back. I always was like, no, like don't worry about me, simply because I was terrified. I was scared that I would get rejected. And because, of course, I grew up in a Christian household and I knew what the moral was, that, you can't be same sex attracted. You can't be with the same sex. And you can't desire to be the opposite gender if you're this gender. So I always just thought that it was like black and white with that moral. And honestly, it made me avoid God. It made me avoid anything to do with church. It it made me make up all these sorts of excuses to go to church, because we actually started going to church when I was 14 years old. And I loathed it. I made up any type of excuse I could to get out of going, because I didn't want people to see me and assume the same exact things that were true, uh, that my family was already beginning to do. And actually, you know what? I take that back. It's not even the fact that it was true. It was wrong. It was wrong of anyone to do to me at such a young age instead of just letting me navigate and figure things out. But I'm really glad that I did open up to my mom at one point. She was actually the first person I told um I was like bisexual too. Cuz I was like, yeah, I guess I'll just label myself this because I don't want anyone to just think I'm strictly this cuz I don't even know if I'm strictly this. And my mom was actually very loving towards me, and she was the first person that was accepting, and she told me that she would love me regardless. And having her own past where she actually dated girls, it it helped me be like, whoa, okay, so maybe I can, and I'll be fine, you know? But it really jacked up my relationship with God, because then I started to question him, and I I honestly despised God, because I was like, how could you allow me to struggle with my identity so much, but then not let me be this if it just feels right and natural to me? Like, as thankful as I am that my mom was so accepting, at the same time, it made me wonder if there were more people who were accepting, would I decide to identify as this? And would they encourage something that I actually wasn't? Because down the road, since it did make me question God so much and made me avoid him, I started to just think that, yeah, maybe I will come out. Maybe I will be open about this and I will come out of this closet that I actually confined myself to. But at the age of 14, going on 15, I actually had this divine intervention that wouldn't have happened through anyone else, because I wouldn't have listened. I was so strong-headed and I was so convinced that, yeah, this is something that I want and this is something I am. I finally one morning had this like divine conviction from God where I heard him so clearly say to me, "Chloe, where has your love gone from me?" And that rocked my whole world. That's all I needed to hear, to just wake up and realize none of this has anything to do with me hating God. There's no reason for me not to love God while trying to pursue this. And it it just turned my whole world upside down, because honestly, it doesn't matter if this is what you think you are. What matters is that you come to this realization your identity is supposed to be in God, and he has a clear purpose for your life. And so hearing his voice so clearly in that moment just made me wake up, and I finally just knew who I was. And yeah, of course, it didn't cure anything. It didn't just suddenly make me straight and now I want a family and here I am being all feminine. You know, it didn't do that to me. I wasn't just like this walking woman now, this ideal woman that you see in like the media or whatever. No, it had nothing to do with that. I still struggle and I still find women attractive, and I still have thoughts where, you know, maybe I am supposed to be a man. I still have all of that. But it's the fact that I understand more of who I am in God that changed everything for me. That makes me actually like happy to be a woman and accept that, like, this body that he gave me, I'm so grateful for. This body that I used to hate and I used to want to be something else, I now absolutely love and I want to take care of. There's a part of me that's afraid of sharing this about my life, and it makes me timid to share it because I know that people are going to think that I'm being all preachy and I'm now sharing my testimony and I'm forcing listeners to listen. First off, you can click off if you don't like this or you disagree. That's totally okay. But I really hope that you do listen because I have to give credit to God that this is the whole truth and the only truth as to why I now accept my body for what it is, and why, even though I still struggle with these thoughts and I still wrestle with them daily, why I am able to love who I am now, despite it all. Just despite it all. I've struggled so much to finally accept that I am a woman and there is a future where I could marry a man and I could possibly start a family. Those thoughts are still terrifying to me. Don't get me wrong. And there are still times where I look at my body and I still see this buff, big-shouldered, hairy, gruff man. But there's also this new purpose I have in my life where I feel whole and I know that I'm whole. And everything makes much more sense when I'm actually able to view myself in the mirror and see that I'm just a girl. And that's so beautiful to finally accept. And all this feminine stuff, it didn't come until later. And it's still very new to me. And it's still terrifying to me to finally accept about myself. And the fact that I've actually liked boys now, and I've actually dated one, and I've gone on dates, and all this stuff. It's so new to me, and it's all frightening, but yeah, at the same time, it's exciting because I never ever thought that this would be something for me. So it's really cool to learn about myself, and it's also really freeing. Not that I'm saying that all girls have to go through this or that they will, that they need to be changed or converted in any way. But the moment I started to accept this about myself is the moment I found true peace and happiness with who I am. Because it's wrong of people to just, you know, look at someone just because they like certain things or they dress a certain way or they're just attracted to whatever and just start deeming them that. They start labeling them as like, oh, well, maybe you're transgender. Oh, well, maybe you're a dyke. That's so wrong. And it's like, just let people be and just let them like what they like. Just let them be interested in whatever they want to be interested in. And maybe it's just a phase. But because you started to egg on this idea and you started to feed into this, of course, that's a persona that they make for themselves. And now they're stuck with it because they feel like they have to be stuck with it. And it's an identity that they actually aren't truly happy with. And, I hear a lot of success stories where like people do transition and they're finally happy with themselves, or they end up in a relationship with the same sex and they feel fulfilled. And maybe that is the case. But I also want other people to take in stories like mine into consideration and how, yeah, maybe it is just a phase and this is us growing up trying to figure it out. Okay, that's all I have for my half of the episode. I think I took a huge chunk, more than I thought I would have. Honestly, I thought I'd only last for 10 minutes and then I'd give Zoe the rest of the spotlight. But yeah, I hope you really got something out of my episode. And just thank you. Thank you if you did hear my whole story. I love talking about stuff like this. In fact, I hope to talk about it more. This is a topic I'm actually really passionate about, and I want to explore more because I really do love the LGBTQ plus community, and I relate so much to anyone who has feelings of, body dysmorphia or gender dysphoria, and it's just simply trying to figure out what their sexuality is, while also, claiming that they're Christian or they believe in Jesus and they just want to love Jesus as much as they do their partner or this identity that they're going after. So, if you want to talk to me more about that, or if you want to just simply check out more content that I've made on topics like this, then simply go follow my Instagram at rdmarie. Thank you.
Howdy, people. It's me, Zoe. Chloe did say I'd be here, and here I am. I hope that y'all are doing really good, and that you guys are just having a good time, and hopefully just hearing what Chloe had to say was good for your mind and your soul and all that stuff. But I'm going to be talking a little bit about body image mixed with a little bit of body dysmorphia, and yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be just talking about that. So that's something that you can't listen to right now because of where you're at. I get it, and I've been there. I'm there occasionally. So yeah, I just would say maybe don't listen to this part. But yeah, hopefully y'all enjoy. Hi, it's Zoe again, and actually, you haven't heard from me quite yet. So this is the first time you're hearing from me. Howdy. I just want to put a little content trigger warning for just talking about body dysmorphia, dysphoria, and body image. It's going to be really deep, and it's going to be a full deep dive. So if that's something that you are not able to listen to right now just because of where you're at, I get it. I just want to let you know before you jump on in and something kind of puts you in a space you don't want to be in. So, without further ado, I present Chloe. So I had the wonderful privilege of growing up in the generation or era of time when curve and plus size was slowly being more accepted. And that didn't happen until I was in middle school. No, not even middle school, I want to say. I'd say like high school to my like young adult years. And so that was really cool as a young like high schooler for that to start being a thing, but it wasn't really done in a healthy way, but I'll get into that a little bit later. But growing up as a kid, I played a lot of sports. I played sports since I was like a literal child all the way till I was 18. I played softball really like pretty much religiously, and I did cheerleading in middle school, and that was just what I did. So I was constantly doing athletics, and so I was in shape, but I was just not petite, or I wasn't slim, and so I was a bigger fit girl. So I had abs. You just couldn't see them. I had muscles. I was a ripped girl, but I also had like a bigger butt, and I still had a stomach, and I had boobs, and so I was just a bigger girl, but I wasn't ugly. I think looking back now that I've grown and that I've learned how to love myself, I can see that now. But in the moment, girl, you couldn't have told me I was attractive. I would have laughed straight in your face. I did not think that about myself whatsoever. And so, yeah, it just was, yeah, it was weird. And so all of my friends growing up were a lot smaller than me. And I was like, that's what I want to look like. One of my best friends was quite literally like a tiny little thing. She was so itty bitty and so cute. And everybody liked her. Everyone liked her. And I was like, well, I guess I have to look like her for people like me. And then my other best friend was this just like stunning human being from the gods and was like hourglass and was just stunning, is still stunning. And all of my other friends liked her. And I was like, well, I have to look like a combination of them. and because no one likes me. And I just was so sad because I'm not the societal norm. I never have been, obviously, but it was such a hard thing to grasp that I wasn't an ugly person. People just didn't see me that way, or even then, if they did, they didn't tell me. They didn't tell my friends. And so it was really hard. And I don't think I had a guy tell me that I was attractive until high school. And it wasn't even like he liked me. I had done some makeup one day. I like got all fitted up for no reason, and I like showed up to something at church, and he goes like, "Wow, Zoe, you look really pretty today." He's like, "You always look really pretty." He's like, "But I really like your makeup today. You look really pretty." And I was like, "Thanks." And it was one of the weirdest things because I was never the girl. Never the girl. I was always the girl's friend. I was talking to my best friend Alexa about this last night, how it's weird being the girl when you're not used to being the girl, that people are talking about or talking to. And so growing up that way, I always assumed, well, they won't talk to me. I'm one of the guys. And I was one of the guys. I hung out with all the boys just as much as I hung out with the girls. And I was just really good with getting along with boys. And I always just was like, well, it's whatever. And it was because in my mind, they didn't see me as somebody that was a suitor, if you will. They didn't see me as somebody that was a potential girlfriend. They just thought, oh, she's cool. Like, I never had a Valentine. I never got asked to dances. And it was really hard because, like, that's like a coming of age thing, getting asked to prom. I asked my best friend to prom every year because I didn't get asked, and that's not a problem. And I still had a great time. I had a fabulous time. Go with your friends. You don't have to be attached to a man. It's lovely. But no, I wanted someone to still ask me. I wanted to get a promposal. I wanted to get all of that stupid shit. But I never did. And it was really hard. I would cry to my mom, be like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And I think it's because I was a really strong woman and I was a little headstrong. And I had standards and I was just, I knew what I wanted. And I think that was a little bit intimidating for some of the guys around me. I don't know. I think I was also extremely strong and would be able to take them down in any minute if you attempted to do something that you shouldn't with me. And I think that can be a little scary. I think that I was a very possibly intimidating person to be around. And I got no problem with that. And I think as I've gotten older, people have wanted to be around me. Guys have wanted to be around me. Girls think I'm attractive. And it's showing like, okay, not only am I still the person I was back then, it's the people that, know they can not handle me, but it's somebody that's like, oh, whatever she has going on here, I like all of it. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, you need to like tone it down a little bit. Or, oh, you need to like not be so like aggressive about certain stuff. And they like me for all of me rather than just like the version of myself that I'm putting out there. And I think that's really cool and really rare. At least for me, it's not normal. I'm still figuring out like what I'm feeling about certain things when it comes to my body. But I think I've learned, similar to what Chloe was saying, I've learned to just appreciate and love this person. And that's a whole journey. It's a struggle every single day, to choose to love myself and what I look like now, not the version of myself that I want. It's the person that I currently am, the body I'm currently in, the shape of what it looks like now, I think is interesting. But, speaking of loving my body now, let's talk about the people that love my body now, but in a really nasty ass way. So, I started doing dating apps because I was bored during COVID. I can't lie. I was bored in COVID. It was a fun little game. And after COVID was over, I was like, okay, let's take this more seriously. Because a lot of the people that I was talking to just became like Snapchat people, and it was just friends, and then they would do some weird dumb shit and I'd block them. That was pretty much it. But in regards to them, check out the Omegle and Snap Daddies episode. I talk a little bit more about that. But no, I had a lot of messages, and I literally could go scroll through them right now and be like, this is disgusting. The way that people speak to women in general is kind of gross sometimes, but the way that people speak to curvy women, oh my God, it is awful. It's a lot of like, damn, you're so thick. Ew. It just, thinking about it makes me want to puke. It's like it's like sexualizing them in a really weird way. And it's a complicated thing because on a dating app, you want someone to tell you you're attractive, but like you can still be respectful about it. And it's just the way that they speak. It's almost like they think that there's no other people that are interested in us, so that you can be as disgusting as you want and we'll still be like, oh my God, yes, this is exactly what I want. No, I want you to treat me like a person. Still tell me that I'm attractive, but be respectful about it. That's not a lot to ask for. And I don't think I realized that's what was happening until I like fully opened my eyes and was like, Zoe, you deserve a lot more than what you're being given. You deserve to be treated differently. Somebody that actually loves you or wants to love you will speak differently about you. I think that the whole process of thinking about the good person for me is out there is so foreign, just because I never experienced it, And I don't know, I think I struggle so hard with seeing what I look like and being like, okay, then why would anybody like this? I know I like this, but why would anybody else? Knowing what other people like, or knowing what I've seen people that I know like, how would this be something that would pertain to them? And it's just so strange and weird, because currently I'm in a space where like, I'm the girl, where I'm not the girl's friend. I'm the girl this time. It's weird, where I'm being talked to, people are talking to me because they actually like me. I'm being quote unquote pursued. We don't know quite yet. But it's so interesting being the girl, and I'm always like, I'm excited about it, but then I get nervous and I'm like, well, what if they like see me in a bathing suit and they think it's ugly? Or what if whatever, and they don't like me anymore because I'm not what they had thought, or I'm not what they assumed. And I don't know, I think it's also just what I've thought for so long, possibly, and how I looked at myself for as long as I've been alive, so almost 23 years now. I think it just really has affected me. I mean, I had a softball coach tell me that I didn't fit the look, which was because I was black and I was curvy and I wasn't thin and white. It's just such a strange time to be a woman, but it's also a strange time to be a curvy woman, because you want to be loved the same way you see other people loved. But I think there's also a fear that you're only being loved because of a fetish, and rather than people loving you because of, they just do. I think the fetishization of plus size curvy women is just really messed up, because you think that there's a person that's into you because they're into you, but they're not. They're just into you because they really like your juicy fat booty. And I'm like, oh, that's all you're here for? Wow, thank you so much. Appreciate it. 10 out of 10, brother. But no, it's just, it's a journey. It's a daily choice to remind yourself of your worth, and a daily choice to remind yourself that you're worthy of the love that you see. It's a daily choice to go, yeah, I might not see the love that I want represented as much in the media, but it's real and it happens and I deserve it. And it starts with you like loving yourself, and that's really hard. I think with any type of body, when you don't have love for it, it's hard to see that other people love you and your everything. My best friend would be like, no, like, you're absolutely stunning. And I would always just like kind of laugh at her, because I thought that she was just being a little liar and just saying it because she loves me as a human. But really, she was being so genuine. She was just saying that I was beautiful and that she loved me. And I didn't believe her for a very long time. I didn't believe a lot of people for a very long time. I thought they were all lying to me. And I think slowly, And I recommend doing this. But slowly it changed. And I think part of it would be I started doing this thing, and I think it's really cute. It's really fun, because when you find them in your memories, it's the most beautiful thing to see. I have Snapchat does memories, or Instagram does memories. I take videos of myself when I'm feeling hot, even if it's I just took my makeup off, even if it's after a long ass day of work and my makeup looks ass, even when it's, I don't know, before I'm about to take a shower. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, if I'm feeling profoundly attractive in that moment, I start videoing myself and go, girl, you are so hot. Look at you. You think you're hot right now. You're so hot. And I just hype myself up. And I save it. I don't post it anywhere, but I save it. I save it. Everybody's like, what are your my eyes only for? It's for the hype up videos that I take of myself before all things. And I keep it. And I'll save it in regular save so it comes up in my memories. And I'm looking through round table video, Wendy's, off room, my car, and that's a random video of me, my makeup is off, or it's on, or whatever, and I'm like, girl, look at you. You look stunning as hell. You're a bad bitch. Nobody can tell you different. You're so hot. And it's the most weird thing, but it's also the most comforting thing, because you're being told how beautiful you are from somebody you know you can kind of trust for yourself. And I don't know, it's my favorite thing to find randomly on my phone. I love it. I think it's my favorite thing. And I don't think I realized that until I started doing it, how much of an effect that has on me. So if you're struggling with body image and you're trying to figure out whether you love what your body looks like, I recommend whenever you're feeling really good, even if it's just because you have makeup on, or just because your outfit looks good, or just because your hair looks good that day. Who cares? You feel good in that moment. Take a video, send it to yourself, save it, whatever. Favorite it in your phone, and you'll always have a video to go back to of you in that moment feeling your best. And it's really cool to see, and it's fun to look at later, because it reminds you, okay, I've felt beautiful before. I felt attractive before. And it's cool. It helps. And I think that's fun. I also think that as I've come into myself and learned about who I am more and come to terms with, I think, just my sexuality and all my good stuff, I think that also really helps. Like, when I came out as bi, I was in a really not so cute place. I also just didn't know a lot about myself, I realized. And so once I realized that about myself, and I was super okay with it, and that people in my life were okay with it, and I just chose to be myself and just not give a crap and love all the parts of me, I started to see a change in how I viewed myself. And it was so interesting being able to be like, wait, I like her a lot. I like all of her. I could look at myself in the mirror and be like, I like her. And it's like I said at the beginning, it's a struggle every day. It's the little thoughts that come in the back of your mind of you're a giant human being. And I know that I'm a tall girl. I know I'm a big girl, but I also, in my mind, I tend to see myself even bigger than I am. I was ordering a sweater, I think. And I was like, oh, I probably should get a 5XL because I'm huge. And I was like, yeah, just to be safe, so make sure it fits, I need to get a 5XL. I was wearing a flannel the other day. It was a 2. And for some people, that's still big. But for me, I was like, oh, I'm actually not as big as I see myself in my mind. And I need to learn to kind of break that, where it's you're not what you always think you are. You're seeing it through a lens of just an old lens of hate, and the person you're looking at in the mirror, that's not what you're thinking in your mind. And I think that was really hard for me to kind of break down. And I also think because when you're seeing it in movies, the way they depict it is a really slim girl looking in the mirror and seeing this really big girl. And for me, that's not how I see myself. I don't have like the where I look in the mirror and I see 10 times too big. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain body dysmorphia, but it's just this feeling of like, I'm just like, no, that's wrong. And what I currently am, I don't know. I can't even explain it. But it's just this feeling of just like, what I'm seeing, that's what I look like. And it's not usually true. And so it's interesting learning how to not only cope with it, but unwind the thoughts that are braided in my mind, basically. And yeah, so that's kind of all I have to say. It was an abrupt stop, potentially. But I just wanted to share, my stuff about this. I think that potentially, maybe when we get back together in person, we might regroup and talk about this again, just because it's fun to talk with Chloe and I miss seeing her. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I think if you guys are interested in more topics like this, Chloe does talk about it on her page on Instagram and I think on TikTok as well. I don't usually talk about this as much. But yeah, I think if you're interested in more topics like this, shoot them our way on Instagram at swearinglyingpod. We are always looking for new episode ideas because sometimes me and Chloe don't think of things till Thursday. But yeah, I think that if you guys have any suggestions, please send them our way. We love hearing that you love hearing that stuff from us, and we also love hearing your ideas. You are the listener. So if you have things you want to specifically hear from us, you should probably tell us. But yeah, I hope y'all have a lovely time today and that you're just having a good time hanging out with family, friends, doing nothing, chilling, relaxing, taking a bath, going on a walk, having a good time with your friends. It's Saturday, so go out with your friends, go out with your girlies, have a few drinks. I don't know, do what you want to do. Have a great time, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.